All right, welcome back to another episode of Ask a Clutter Boss. It is 11:30 a.m. Oh, the graphic says PM, but the email said AM. Um, Sorry about that. We will adjust that on the back end and make sure that it's all updated. It is definitely AM, and it is right now. So our apologies. I'll send a little note over to the team. This is Ask a Clutter Boss. I am Jess Marcy. Every week we go live and answer the decluttering questions that you have submitted this week. If you haven't had a chance to submit your question, please go ahead and submit it into the comments right now. We can always answer live. Otherwise, you can fill out the form and submit your question for next week. We have two questions that are kind of similar. They talk about roadblocks and how to move forward. And I think this is something that when we are decluttering, it's really, really common to come up against these specific roadblocks. So let me dive into the first question here. If you're joining us live, please say hello in the comments. You have found us. We are here live streaming on YouTube. I don't even know where to start. It's so overwhelming. Kathy, these questions today might help you out a lot. And if you want to add more context to your question, feel free to do that in the comments right now. Maybe can you identify which part is most overwhelming? Is it where figuring out your starting point? Is it figuring out what to let go of? Hello, Emily. Hello, Lisa. Hi, Mary. All right, question number one. Let me know if you can relate to this question. I feel like I am in a catch-22. I have clutter in front of my cabinets and furniture, and I need to store the things that I'm keeping in those cabinets and furniture. The cabinets, furniture, and closets too are full of things to let go of. How is there a good way to do step one and then go to step two? I feel like this is such a roadblock. Thanks. Literally, it is a roadblock when you have stuff in front of your cabinets that you're keeping, and it's hard to access your cabinets where there's stuff you need to let go of. And that is the storage space for the stuff that you're keeping. How do you go from point A to point B? The key to all of this, really, and you may hear me say this, you may hear me say this over and over again, is letting go of as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And I know this decluttering process takes a really long time. There's a lot of mindset work that you need to do to be at the point where you're able to let go of a lot of stuff. But when you physically have stuff in the way of the closet that you need to get to store the stuff, I would see, is there a way? So, okay, number one, I would identify, is there a big domino here? Like, is there a number one domino? Is there a closet that when you access it, if you had access to it, it would have a lot of stuff that you know is leaving, and it has a lot of storage space? Can you find that first big domino? So if you have a closet, a cabinet, a piece of furniture that is storing a lot of stuff, and you know for sure when you open up that closet, most of the stuff is going to be absolutely donated or discarded. You will actually be emptying out most of the closet. Can you find that first domino? And you're welcome, Linda. Linda, think about this, and you can totally answer in the comments so that we can do this a little bit more live if possible. Is there that first domino? If you have that closet that really most of it is going to be discarded and it would give you a lot of actual storage space, can you clear the area in front of that closet, empty out that closet, and then use that to start to store the stuff that is staying, that you're keeping? Where is the first domino? It could be your pantry. Okay. Your pantry could be full of expired food, and all of the other food that you are eating is outside of your pantry. Could you go into that pantry? Could you make a pathway into that pantry? Just open up the door enough to get most of the stuff out so that you can free up the storage space that you need to start moving forward. It could be your dresser. So a lot of our clients have all the clothing that they wear in baskets, bins, or piles in front of their closet and dressers. And the closet and dresser is really full of nothing that's actually being worn. If you've not opened your dresser in the last couple of years, you probably don't need anything in it. Can you start there? Can you start by clearing the space in front of your dresser, emptying out your dresser, and then putting the clothing that you're wearing into the space that you need it to be in? Where is that first domino? Where is that big space, potentially big space that you could use to store things that you're keeping just to start that movement? Decluttering is really all about movement. The reason we have clutter is because we've had more stuff coming into our house than going out of our house for a very long time. We've had no circular movement, right? We've had stuff flowing in, moving in, and not moving out. And you get to the point where you're just completely stuck. You have no room for negotiation, no room for movement. And we're really trying to reestablish the movement that we need. But in order to do that, we have to do a lot of moving out. So if you can find that one spot, and it doesn't really matter at this point in the game. Let's say you have an under the stairs closet, right? An under the stairs closet, and you intend to use it to store your vacuum cleaner and stuff like that. But if you emptied it out, you would have a lot of space, and you could use that temporarily to store stuff that you're keeping, just to have that room to move. Then go ahead and use that for temporary storage. For even though it's not, let me see, I'm trying to figure out if I'm explaining this correctly. Okay. When you start the decluttering process, let's say you want to keep a certain collection of items in a certain storage space. So you want to keep all of your toiletries in the bathroom. And the bathroom happens to have an enormous closet in it, like a big linen closet. And you can get rid of most of the stuff in there. You could use that linen closet to temporarily hold on to things that you're keeping while you're clearing out other spaces. Your temporary storage while you're decluttering does not need to be your permanent storage. It doesn't need to be exactly right. And I think that is one of the big issues that holds us back. We want to put a specific collection of items into a specific location, but in order to get to that location, it's too complicated. We have a lot of something and we need to store it. Don't get stuck on, I have to put this stuff right here. That's where it's going to live ultimately. Instead, can you think about what storage space can I free up to just store the things that I'm keeping while I create space to go through everything else? We need to create space to sort. You can live with temporary storage for a little while as you're decluttering. Yeah, like a staging area. Is this making sense the way that I am explaining it? Your final storage does not. And here's the other thing is that sometimes we're not really sure where things are going to live, where their homes are going to be in our house. So we may not know exactly where we're going to keep our craft collection. We might have an idea, but it's not, we don't have the exact storage or the exact location picked out. So then we just don't do anything. The key is where can you start to create that space? You need space for sorting, and you also need space to store things that you're keeping while you're sorting and while you're freeing up other space. So if you can find that location where you can store just stuff that you're keeping, make that your collection for right now. You can always move it in the future as you get to your other closets and get them cleaned out. It's at least a plan that which I couldn't think of. Yeah, and that's the thing is it can feel so overwhelming because all the stuff that you wanna keep is out of the storage, and all of the stuff that you're ready to let go of is stored, and you can't get to that storage. So pick one big spot. Figure out a way to get into that storage area, create a pathway, maybe ask somebody who you trust to come and help you move stuff out of that storage area, and then you can start to use that functionally, and that can be really, really helpful. Um, so Trish, it is a little bit like clutter shuffling. So, okay, clutter shuffling is when you're moving clutter from one spot to another and not really letting go of anything. This is a little bit different because you're choosing to keep things, but you need a storage spot for them. And so it's like temporary storage. It is important, though, that as you're going through this process, be really cognizant that you are not clutter shuffling. So if clutter shuffling is really, it is moving stuff from one spot to another without letting anything go. And this kind of follows right, or like flows right into our next question. Let's say that you have a room that's pretty full and the closets are full. In order to live comfortably within that space, you probably have to get rid of 75% of what is in that room. If you're just rotating things around and only letting go of, say, 5% or 10%, that's definitely clutter shuffling. You want to set your sights a little bit higher. And let me read the next question because this is, it's all connected to the next question. So the next question says, boot camp was amazing. I am feeling so inspired. A special thank you to coaches Marie and Amy. While listening, I was trying to clean off my table, but I'm finding it incredibly overwhelming. I realize I need to get rid of 75% of my belongings to live more comfortably, but it is all good stuff. It is just too much good stuff. How can I efficiently and easily determine what to keep and what to get rid of, especially when the items aren't trash? Any advice on breaking through this paralyzing feeling would be greatly appreciated. Okay. So these questions are all connected. This is the being super paralyzed and stuck at the beginning of this process. If you recognize that you need to let go of 75% of your stuff, but it's all good stuff, then number one, come to terms with the fact that you're going to be letting go of good stuff, and that's okay. That's totally okay. You can find maybe a place to donate to that will take most of your stuff. So at least you feel good about where it's going. But recognize, even though it's all good stuff right now, every single thing that we own is going to end up at some point in the future in a landfill. That is the cold, hard truth. Every possession that we have ultimately will end up in a landfill. Period. There's no way around this truth. It sucks. It is terrible to think about, but you know, it's just what is going to happen at some point in the future. When you're keeping stuff in your house, good stuff, bad stuff, whatever stuff it is, when you're keeping stuff in your house and your house is so full, it has 75% more stuff than storage, then you're basically living in a storage unit, not a house. You have to really be so honest with yourself about the reality of the situation. You do not deserve to live in a storage unit. You deserve to have a house that you love. And if that means making some difficult decisions to let go of things that are still good, that is okay because you deserve to live in a home that you love. You deserve to have a home that feels peaceful. You deserve to have a home that is not overwhelming. And here's the thing, when you have a space that does not overwhelm you, does not paralyze you, you are in the position to give so much back to your community, to the environment, to whatever group or cause or organization that you feel really called towards. You can show up as the best version of yourself. What you have to give on the inside means so much more than the stuff in your house. As a person, You are more valuable than any good thing. So don't let all of these good things hold you back from showing up as that incredibly awesome human that you are. And if that means that you have to value yourself more than the stuff, then that is what you need to do. Value yourself more than the stuff. The stuff is all going to end up in a landfill one day. Yes, we can try and find more use for it right now, but not to the point where you're holding yourself back from showing up as you want to, as you're put on this earth for, to your communities, your causes, your organizations. You're more important than the good stuff. You're the best stuff, really. What is inside of you is what should be shared with the world in whatever way makes sense for you. Okay, how is that landing? There's a lot of comments here, so let me just go back over to the comments and read through them really quickly. Um, okay, I find that to feel good about giving away stuff, I give it to a local shelter. I find a family that is going to move and needs things. Fires that help that people need things to rebuild. Yeah, find a cause. Find a cause. Do not try and sell that stuff. It just takes way too much time. Find some local, usually a homeless shelter, a battered women's shelter, something like that. They tend to take a lot of household goods, which usually that's what the good stuff is. It's like household goods, so pass them along and just remember that no matter what you do with the stuff, once you pass it along, whether it's to Goodwill, whether it's to a homeless shelter, whether it's to a trash center, whether it's to your next door neighbors, whether it's to your children, wherever you pass that stuff along to, you have no control over what happens to it. So release control over it. It doesn't matter what happens to it. Pass it along in the way that feels good or in the way that prioritizes your sanity first and foremost. Pass it along, get rid of it, whatever is the easiest thing for you to do. But that does not keep you stuck in it. Well, now I have to drive 50 miles and bring this stuff really far. No. Mm-mm. What you need to do right now is create a space where you're not overwhelmed and where you can think clearly and where you can feel safe and where you can feel really good about yourself. That is number 1. Um, Mary, I am so glad. I've just convinced you to get rid of 5 out of 7 rolls of aluminum foil or tin foil. Yes. Just let them go. It is okay. It is okay. It is okay. And yes, there's lots of different local places that take stuff, but at the again, if you're spending if your intention is to find something someplace to bring stuff and you find that you're spending a lot of time making phone calls, trying to find the best spot instead of actually letting go of stuff, go back to just letting go of stuff. We can't spend forever finding the best community entity to let go of things. And it's really important to remember that around the country, our access to disposal options varies dramatically. So you may live in a spot where you have lots of options for letting go of things, where you can have a donation center come and pick up stuff at your house, or you may live someplace where you just don't have those options, or you may be in a situation where you don't have transportation, or you may be in a situation where you don't have a lot of help. If that's your situation, then yes, you may have to throw out a lot of stuff. No judgment, no judgment. That's your situation, nobody else's. So you decide what the best course of action for you is because only you know your own circumstances. You might be dealing with a medical situation where you just can't really leave your house, but you have a lot of stuff. What are you going to do? Let it go. Put it for free on your curb. Put it into the trash. You make the best decision for you right now. Period. And you don't let anyone else influence you. It's you're moving forward in a way that is true to you and your circumstances, which nobody else knows. Um, okay. So if you need to let go of 75% of your stuff, here's what I would do. I would take 10 items, random items, pull them aside, pull them out. 10 items. Can you let go of 10%? How about 20%? How about 30%? How about 40%? How about 50%? Of those random items, how many of them can you say, I can let this go? Really, when you're talking about 75%, I find it's just easy to pull out things in tens and just let go of. My goal today is 50%. 5 out of 10 items have to go. So I'm only going to keep the things that I love and use, not the things that I have loved in the past and don't love anymore, not the things that I might use in the future. No, we need what is in our house to support our life right now. If you're not using it and you don't love it, there's no reason to keep it. Okay. This is true. It holds me up finding the perfect place. When in doubt, throw it out. Yeah, don't get stuck on finding the perfect place. Remember, perfect doesn't exist. Perfect is a figment of our imaginations. There is no perfect in this world. There is only fighting for our sanity. So let's let go of perfection. It's not real. It's a hanging on to, hanging on to that. I need this to be perfect. I need the perfect place. I need the perfect solution. I need the perfect this, that. It doesn't exist. We're trying to find something that will never exist. Yeah, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's not there. So let it go and try and just figure out what is right for you in this moment. Okay. Um, is there a rule to bring things in, such as what has to go? Jerry, have you done boot camp yet? Okay, Clutter boot camp is our 5 days of working with our coaches and learning the basics and foundations to start moving forward in your life. We just had a boot camp last week. We do boot camp every 6 weeks. So if you are looking for boot camp information, go to clutterboss.com. You can sign up for the next boot camp. It's really, really powerful week. Here's the rule. When you are actively decluttering, if you find that you have to declutter 75% of what's in your house or any percentage, really, if you're in this period where you're actively decluttering, the rule is nothing comes in. Stop the flow in. You can bring in essentials like food and medication, but even with food, you probably have a lot of food on hand and you can start to eat down your pantry. Stop the flow of items into your house. Just yesterday, I was going through some of my old paperwork and my like business related paperwork. And I found these contracts that I used to have my clients sign when I started working with them. And I literally would have people sign a contract that said, I agree to not bring anything unnecessary into this house while I am doing this process. Because when you're bringing stuff in, you're standing in your own way. You're just adding to the overall volume of stuff that you need to go through. Even if you're bringing in bins or boxes or organizational tools, you don't need that. It's just adding to the overall volume. It's adding to the clutter. It's adding to what you're going to have to go through. And it used to be one in, one out. That was like something that we kind of learned maybe as children or we've heard along the way. I think one in, one out is like woefully wrong. If I bring in one thing right now, usually it's a package. And usually inside of the package is another package. And inside of that package is packaging and then more packaging and then the single item that I brought in. So when I bring in one thing, I'm really bringing in one thing plus a great box that I might use. Plus, oh, wouldn't that packaging be good to use in the garden? Or I should save that bubble wrap in case I ever ship something. Or we can just convince ourselves to keep everything. You've now brought in 4 or 5 items, not one. So one in, one out it's a thing of the past. When you're decluttering, nothing comes in. Nothing. Zero. Go for zero. And here's the nice part of that is nothing's coming in. So you're releasing a lot of that. You're reducing a lot of the stress of stuff coming in. You're also saving a lot of money. So you can start to pay down your debt. You can start to look at your finances, just kind of, apply those savings elsewhere. Watch your bank account grow and the stuff in your house decrease. That's a beautiful thing. Um, yeah, Jerry, go sign up for our next boot camp. It's so, so, so good. There's so much we can justify. We can justify keeping everything. Everything. It's so easy. I might need this in the future. I might know somebody who might need this in the future. My kids might need this. My mother might need this. My mom might downsize in 5 years and need packing material. Let me start saving this for her. This is absolutely like this. Okay. So, this line of thinking made a lot of sense, say in the early 1900s. Does it make sense today? Absolutely not. It's something that made a lot of sense back then and now is completely a crazy thought, right? Whatever we need, we can typically get in a day or less. I mean, if we need packaging material, we can get packaging material. Ask all your simply post on Facebook who's got extra boxes. Everyone, everyone has households full of stuff. Nobody is lacking for anything. If you're in a situation where you're trying to declutter, right? And if there are people who are lacking, then find them and help them out by gifting them your stuff, right? If they are in a position to accept it. But we just don't live in the Great Depression right now. This is not, you know, I mean, my grandmother who lived through the Great Depression, she saved absolutely everything because she remembered a time where you actually couldn't get things. Like you truly couldn't get anything. Even when we had, a toilet paper shortage, like we still had toilet paper. Nobody didn't have toilet paper. Like we had a shortage, but everyone had toilet paper. Okay, so I'm going on these big tangents here. Those were the two big questions that we had today, and I thought they were really good questions to go together. You have to keep fighting your way through the stuff. You have to keep fighting your mindset through the justifying keeping everything. Find that big domino. What's the one space in your house that you can clear out right now that can just give you that wiggle room? Maybe it's a tabletop. Maybe it's your dresser. Maybe it's a closet. Where can you start to create that movement in your house? If there's any questions, oh, Jerry, yes, you signed up for boot camp. Amazing. We'll see you in June in boot camp. Are there any more questions in the live right now? We can if go ahead and type them in. I'll wait a second. I think there's a little delay between my talking and you're hearing this and the typing. Heather says letting go can be so liberating. It is so, so, so liberating. The truth is, we think we're going to miss this stuff. We think we're going to need this stuff. And 99.9% of the stuff, you will not even remember what it was after you gave it away. You'll be hard pressed to even remember what you didn't keep. So instead of living in the fear of what if, live in the confidence of, yes, I'm not even going to remember this. This is so insignificant that when I let go of it, I'm not even going to remember what it was. It is so liberating. It's so empowering. When you start to make decisions about the stuff, about your space, you start to put yourself first in all other situations and scenarios in your life. And that is huge. That is huge. Showing up empowered is it's pretty powerful. All right. Couple more minutes, seconds for questions in the comments. Carrie says, I put lots of stuff at the curb and put a post on my Nextdoor app. It's often easier than dragging it to the donation center since there's no pickups in my area. Yeah. And Carrie, that's exactly what I do. I put a free every year, usually in June, I put a free table at the end of my driveway and I just haul out whatever from the year we don't need. A lot of times it's kids stuff. My kids, kids grow, their hobbies change. So we let go of the stuff we haven't used last year. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that I've let go of my kids' childhood. It just means that I'm creating space for them to continue to grow and have new hobbies and have new activities and create new memories and experiences. All right, so I don't see any more questions coming in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you haven't been to Clutter Bootcamp, definitely join. Jerry, we're so excited that you joined. If you are interested in um, some a program with a lot more support, or just higher levels of support, clutterboss.com, or reach out to one of us. You can email support@clutterboss.com, jess@clutterboss.com, gina@clutterboss.com. Let us know you need more support. You want to talk about what programs we have available. We have so many different ones, so we can definitely get you into the right spot. And if you're just looking for advice every week, this is the place to be. 11:30 Eastern Time on YouTube. Used to be elsewhere, but now it's all on YouTube. I also every week I edit these down. I take out the kind of comments and the chit chat, so it's just a shorter, to the point Ask a Clutter Boss. There is a playlist on our YouTube channel. You can go back and listen to all of the previous Ask a Clutter Bosses. And yeah, remember, keep fighting for yourself. You are more important than the stuff. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Bye.